Hello and welcome to the Oregon Files podcast. First, our disclaimer. We are novice podcasters simply for entertainment and knowledge. If we misquote or offend, it was not on purpose to do so. And if you're on this episode now, you have stuck with us through some amazing interviews. And I think this is going to be another one of them. I'm very excited about this one. But first, my co-host, Elliot Bowman.
Thank you, Mark. I don't think we've been surrounded by so many plants in an interview before. First, the house cleaning stuff. Melinda, thank you so much for your time. The last episode, we really appreciate. I don't know how else to explain it.
It was a journey.
Thank you so much for your time and chatting with us. If you want to get a hold of the show, like always, it's OregonFilesPodcast@yahoo.com. Mark and I are currently doing a little maintenance to the websites. This is the best way you can put it. Mark and I are kind of working on renewing the websites. And but if you want, you can also comment on the YouTube episodes Mark puts out there, and then Instagram, Oregon Files Podcast. That's all my rambling. But today we got Logan Bennett, who is from the
Oregon State University Extension Service.
Thank you so much. Oregon State University Extension Service. We're going to talk to him, and it's a great time of year to talk to him because I think a lot people like myself and Mark are thinking about gardening and planting, and we're really hoping that today, like days like today where it's sunny out, that maybe we'll have a lot more to come. So, sir, thank you so much, and welcome to like the Beard Bros, because
Yes.
we don't get a lot. I don't know. Maybe
2 beers?
Maybe 2
2 and a half?
beards. Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Well,
Good.
thanks for inviting me on the pod and inviting me to the Beard Club. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh, good beards. Yes, thank you, sir. And kind of just jump in here. Are you from the area? Did you grow up in Douglas County, Roseburg? Oregon?
I'm not. I'm actually not even from Oregon. Born in Nevada.
Okay.
But I've been in Oregon most of my life, probably coming up on 25 years. So,
Okay.
and yes, that is most of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I've been in Douglas County for about 4 years. I moved here to join the Extension Service, and I absolutely love it here. The community's fantastic. The growing region is also fantastic. I came from the Willamette Valley, so we are, up there it's very diverse in terms of crop production. There's all sorts of niche crop production, and we still have that down here. See a lot of vegetable producers. We've got a lot of blueberry producers, hazelnuts, and wine grapes. And so we have a good climate for all of those things, but we also, not saying they don't in the Willamette Valley, but we also have a lot of livestock production here too. So it's a very cool, diversified growing environment.
Yeah. Growing up, did you have like a garden and a farm kind of growing up? Like, were you around that kind of younger? Like, did you have somebody in your life that kind of introduced you to?
Yes and no. So I was born on a ranch. My mom raised quarter horses, and we grew wheat. But after moving to Oregon, a lot of my younger and into adult life was not spent in a rural environment. I was mostly urban until I got into college. And in a soil science class, I actually got invited to go out to a community farm for extra credit points, I think. Started getting involved there and realized that I really enjoyed working in the soil, working with my hands, and growing things. So at some point, for a year or two there, I ended up running that farm. That's kind of where it started. And we were doing a lot of organic production. It was a micro farm or a market garden. That's 0.67 acres. And we were producing enough to be at 3 markets at a time during the summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Shout out James Cassidy.
I think we had somebody on that she does the farm to school program, and she was saying that she calls herself a dirt nerd.
There you
She
go.
likes puts her hands in the dirt. And
Very
calls herself a
cool.
Dirt nerd. So how did you get involved with the Master Garden program?
Yeah. So before I came to Oregon State University, I worked in the agronomy world, which is a fancy word for crop consultant, specializing in permanent crop systems. So I did a lot of blueberries, wine grapes, hops, hazelnuts, cherries, that kind of thing. With that in mind, I knew that when I came to the Extension Service, I wanted to continue in that space of helping growers succeed. The Extension Service is a super unique thing. We only have it in the United States, although there are versions of it in other countries, but we exist specifically as a nonprofit to bring as much free and low-cost information to our communities as possible, and we are science-backed. So anything we bring out into the community has research backing it, and we can cite that. So being a part of that as an extension agent has been absolutely fantastic. So I knew I wanted to do that. I entered the extension service as our small farms outreach program coordinator. So I've been working in cropping systems, both organic and conventional, on small to large scales in the county. And then I got approached to see if I'd be willing to take over the Master Gardener program as well. The person who was running that had retired, and they were wondering if we could have that program continue with a faculty member. And so I said yes, and it's, boy howdy, has it been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a uniquely fantastic group of people here in Douglas County. We have around 170 members, and they are just salt of the earth people. I absolutely love working with them.
Yeah. How long has the program been around?
Great question. This is our 50th anniversary.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
That's
So
exciting.
the extension service itself has been around for over 100 years.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it was introduced in the early 1900s through a series of acts that allowed us to get out initially in granges and then into communities as the extension service to help folks. And we've done everything from introducing new varieties and bloodlines of sheep into counties to diversify the wool pool, all the way to helping facilitate large events. There used to be a strawberry festival here in Douglas County, and the extension service was involved in that. The Master Gardener program was introduced in 1986, both as a way to bring people into horticulture and to help extension agents answer day-to-day questions. And so that's still persisting. We're here in the plant clinic right now, which is where we normally have master gardeners in the afternoons to answer plant questions. So it's been a really strong program. It's been going for 50 years nationwide. We've been doing it here for quite a while too.
Wow. So the extension from Oregon State has been around?
Yeah. Well, so the extension service is a national program.
Oh, okay.
That's been around since 1912-ish.
Okay.
I don't know the exact date that we established our extension service, but it was very early on.
Yeah. I've always wondered, like, why from Oregon State, why did Roseburg kind of get
Great question.
selected?
It's not just Roseburg. We have extension offices in almost every county in the state.
Okay.
Yeah, so almost every county has an extension office or an extension research station. So, and that's true of most states. Their land trust colleges will have an extension service. And so the idea being that no matter where you are in the country, if you have a question, not only about agriculture or horticulture, but if you have a question about health and family sciences, if you want to join a 4-H club, if you have a question about forestry, or whatever those relevant topics are where you live, there's an extension agent there that can help you with that.
And a good website resource is extension.oregonstate.edu/mg.
Appreciate that.
I meant to say that earlier.
Nice.
It actually even says around here 50 years.
Yeah. Also, if you're a farmer, there's
Yeah.
a small farms version of that too.
Okay. So what's the difference? This is probably a stupid question, but like, how is like small farms, like what's like the size, like what falls under small farms compared to like big farms? Like,
Yeah.
what's that kind of category? What falls under it?
When it comes to farming, instead of a size difference, classifying you from a small farm to a large farm, it's actually, instead of size, it's a financial thing. So I believe currently, fact check me on this, I believe currently it's $350,000 of gross revenue, and under is considered a small farm.
Okay.
I'm a small farm.
Yeah, you could be.
Are, buddy. Do we have most small farms or big farms, or like?
Great question.
Yeah.
In the county, most of our farms are going to be small farms, but we have both. That's part of that diversified agriculture that we have here. So, and when I say farms, I'm talking about agricultural production, not necessarily livestock. That may be a different group entirely in terms of their revenues. I don't know. But for farmers that are growing plants, horticultural production, for the most part, we're small farms.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry, remind me like kind of what your role is with like the small farms. Is it like helping them out with like crops or like questions they have? Because I just imagine like farms around here probably have been around for a long time, and maybe they've been doing things for this, maybe the same way for generations and generations. So kind of where does like your office kind of step in with like the small farms?
For sure. So we exist as a helpline for farmers, whether it's, like your farming or gardening questions, putting on workshops to bring new scientific information to the community, or I do probably close to 90 site visits a year. If a farmer calls me,
Oh, wow.
they are selling their produce and they have a question about how to increase their yield. They have a disease issue. They want to talk about farm layout or even market garden layout. There's a good chance that I can come check that out and help you in whatever way you need.
Man, are you what kind of hours you running here?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like 8 to 5? I mean, are you
The office itself is
Yeah.
open 8 to 5.
Got it.
I work when farmers need me, so
Got it.
that could be early mornings, late afternoons, evenings, or weekends.
Okay.
We always figure out a way to make it wash out. It's cool.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So
So you've kind of grown, you've sort of developed like relationships with
Yes.
a lot of the farmers.
yeah, and it really helps. Our farming community here is absolutely fantastic. The folks that I get to work with make coming to work an absolute joy.
Mm.
They're growing really cool crops. We have a farmer down south that's still in Douglas County that grows ginger, for example. Isn't that weird? But it's great.
Yeah.
They're fantastic people. Shout out Matt and Lucy.
Is ginger grown underground?
So ginger is a root that we harvest. The plant will grow above ground, but you're looking for that root.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a crop that's more difficult to grow than others like around here?
Every crop's going to have its own special requirements.
Like
so
a diva crop. Like, is there a diva crop?
Diva crop.
Yeah.
there's a few.
Yeah.
So, for example, blueberries, when grown in perfect circumstances, grow fantastically. However, if a blueberry is grown in a soil with a pH that's above 5.5, meaning the acidity in that soil is low, it's more basic than acid, they don't do well at all. So it just kind of depends on which crop you're looking at. How do you adjust for what you're growing? And in that case, if you're looking to grow blueberries or if you're already growing blueberries, that's one that you want to test the soil pretty frequently to make sure that you're not getting above that 5.5 pH. And then if you do, you can lower that back down with elemental sulfur. But if you're not paying attention to that or you're brand new to putting blueberries in a specific area, you can end up with something called iron chlorosis where the blueberries will all turn yellow.
Oh.
Not the fruit, the leaves.
That's wild.
Yeah, and that's an indicator. It can be an indicator of too high of a pH or other issues. So that's one of those things that I can help with. If you're on a farm and your blueberries are having an issue or any crop, we can walk step through step to figure out what's going on and how to fix it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I love talking this stuff.
Dude, this is so-
For folks that aren't like, green thumb, or if they look at a plant, they kill it just from looking at it. What's sort of like the good beginner plant to like grow for people that want to kind of get into
Outdoor or indoor?
outdoor?
Okay, so if we're growing outdoors plants and you have a sunny area, there's 2 places to start. If we're going to be growing crops to eat, lettuce and radishes are both great crops to start with.
Okay.
The radish, that's a fun one because it's instant gratification. You put a seed in the ground and somewhere between 30 and 35 days, you have something you can eat.
Okay.
And once they get started, they just do pretty well on their own. If you are new to radishes and maybe don't like things that are spicy, because sometimes radishes can be spicy,
Yeah.
I would recommend French breakfast. They're a little bit longer. They're very beautiful. They go white into pink, kind of like an ombre, and they grow really well in this area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
With lettuces, you've got so many options. Black-seeded Simpson is a great choice here. Red Sail is a great choice here. It sort of just depends on if you want a heading lettuce, if you want a lettuce like a romaine. There's so many options, but in general, lettuce grows really well here. If you're looking to start something in a flower, the 2 flowers I would recommend, 3 flowers. I can't forget this one. The 2 flowers I was going to recommend and still do are dahlias and zinnias. So dahlias grow really well in the climate here. If you have dahlias that are forming tubers, which most dahlias do, you need to remove the tuber during the winter and then bring it back out in the spring. That is the most work for a dahlia. Otherwise, they grow really well here.
Huh.
Zinnias, fantastic. They're one of those that's close to instant gratification. Start them indoors. They start growing very fast, so transplant them outside. And they, depending on the variety of zinnia, you can get some that you can cut as cut flowers. Don't tell my wife. Hopefully she doesn't listen to the podcast before this happens. But I am planning on growing an entire bed of zinnias for cut flowers so that she can have a living bouquet all summer long.
Aw,
Yeah, it should be
love
fun.
that.
Yeah. And then the third one is calendulas. So see all those trays behind you?
Okay.
We've got petunias, straw flowers, snapdragons, but the ones on the far left of me, far right of you, are the calendulas. And they are just one of my favorite flowers. Their flower holds for so long. Like into December, you'll still have nice orange in the backyard.
Wow.
So they're pretty close to bulletproof once they get established.
How long?
Yeah.
I mean, so how long did it kind of take you to collect like all this knowledge? Like, I mean, you went to college, and then you're here where you're at now. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure there's stuff you've probably still learning and going to learn, right? But
100%.
like,
So
what has been kind of like the learning process for you?
when I finished in college, I had a degree in natural resource management, which was really geared more towards forestry, and then a minor in fish and wildlife management. So I didn't really start getting into plants until grad school. I went for soil science, and I specialized in soil-borne pathogens, specifically Phytophthora, which is a genus, means plant destroyer.
Hmm.
So have you guys talked to anyone who's talked about sudden oak death yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so sudden oak death is Phytophthora ramorum. It's an extremely destructive pathogen, specifically for tan oaks, but it can affect other trees too. It has over 200 species that it'll associate with. It's killed several million trees in California. So what we were doing when I was in grad school getting my master's was figuring out how to treat for Phytophthora ramorum non-chemically.
Hmm.
And we came up with a solution called soil solarization. I shouldn't say we came up with that. That has been an established solution.
Yeah.
But we looked at it
Yeah.
and did some more research to kind of figure out, is it effective at these sizes with this moisture level kind of thing. So I came out of grad school with that background, not necessarily plant growth, but soil science. And then I got hired with an agronomy outfit, and that brought me into the plant part of the soil science world. And so I really got started working with the perennial crops in that way. So that's a lot of the disease management and sort of scouting and getting used to what can be wrong with a plant and how to fix it. The growing plant part came from when I was working on the mini farm up at OSU. I learned a lot about organic production, vegetable production, and market production that way. And then I got to couple that with this perennial production, disease management, and overall crop consulting that I did with the agronomy outfit. So those two things combined gave me a good base to come in and start doing more agronomic work through Oregon State University Extension. And a lot of what I've learned that's been super useful is through talking to the farmers and learning from them about what works, what doesn't, why, and when to do it. So, our old boss for the small farms program used to call it the farmer and the egghead, which is we've got a lot of academic knowledge and some background experience, and we can come in and show you what the data says, and then you show us what works. And between the two of those things, we can come up with a good solution.
Nice.
Yeah. So our Oregon State University Extension and all extension services really function from partnership. So working with our communities and our stakeholders to figure out what works and what real solutions look like is a great way to function. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. And
Yep.
can we talk about kind of the other services that
Sure.
that fall kind of under the extension or the different programs, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am part of Small Farms and Master Gardeners, but at the Douglas County Extension Office, we also have Family Health and Community Services. We have forestry. We have a really robust 4-H program. So there's a lot to offer here if you're interested in anything kind of related to those subjects. We've got somebody that can help you out with it. So and our livestock and forages agent just retired, Shelby Philly, fantastic. So we still have a lot of her information, and I'm a little bit into pastures, livestock, and forages. So for folks who are doing that, you can come check us out too. We can help you out.
And is it the tribal youth program?
So the Tribal Roots Horticulture Program.
I think that's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah. So at one point it was a youth program.
Okay.
It's sort of evolved over the years.
Got it.
What we're trying to do with that is I work with the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, and we are year to year, we've been doing it for about 4 years, actively looking to fill whatever community need that we identify. And so we started as a youth program, which was awesome.
Yeah.
What we found was that we couldn't offer it on weekdays during the year because kiddos have to go to school.
Right.
So we've sort of transitioned into a family gardening program. We did it last year at the Discovery Garden. This year we're doing it at the Village Station, and it's been a very fun and successful program for a few reasons. One is that we're not just doing straight horticulture. We're integrating traditional medicine, traditional culture into what we're doing. And that's been just a wonderful learning experience for me and for the folks that get to participate in that program. So it's really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This time of year, what else? What's kind of like the upcoming events that you guys have coming up?
So we have a bunch of stuff. It's part of our new Grow at the Co-op learning series. We have a farm and ranching version and a gardening version. And so these classes are designed for community members to come and attend, and you can come with all the experience in the world or no experience, and we'll have something for you. So for the gardening ones, tomorrow we're doing tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants, but we're also going to be covering things like soil health, designing a garden space, gardening for wildlife, pest and ID management, and planning for fall crops. So those are meant to be seasonally relevant as we go through.
Yeah.
And then for the farming one, we're doing a little bit more dialed in niche production topics. So we have a pasture management class. We'll be doing a pest ID and management class, but in that version, we'll be talking a lot more about appropriate herbicides and other chemicals, talking about resistance, how to use them. There's a rather new EPA initiative called Bulletin's Life 2, which revolves around pesticides. So we'll be talking about that, how to be familiar with it and use it properly so that you make sure you're following all the label requirements. That's one thing we work with a lot here is how to read a label, what kind of pesticides should we be using, why, how do we use them responsibly, safely, that kind of thing.
Which kind of leads me to my next question.
Sure.
As far as like kind of common weeds around like your yard, what would you say is like the best way to kind of destroy like the most like common type of weeds? Like if you're trying to make your yard look nice and you don't want to like just dump a bunch of chemicals out there, do you have like a good home remedy or
good
remedy?
Well, my suggestions are always going to be in the form of IPM, integrated pest management. So we're going to look at physical, cultural, biological, and then chemical methods in that order. So the first suggestion I always have for a lawn is if you want to keep a lawn, try planting an eco lawn. And that means incorporating species that are competitive with what we would normally consider weeds. So we don't only have grass, but we've got clover, we've got yarrow, things that'll help sort of outcompete those, what we might consider traditionally as weeds.
Like like they'll battle for space?
Yeah. Yeah, for example, yarrow has something called allelopathy. So it exudes chemicals from its roots, natural chemicals from its roots, that discourage other broadleaf plants from growing near it. And so if we're incorporating plants like that into our yard, we still have our grass, but we're not going to have as many daisies or dandelions, that kind of thing.
I didn't know. Can you just find yarrow and be I'm going to plant it?
So there's a million different varieties or cultivars of yarrow, and they're including native varieties too. But any seed magazine or catalog that you check out right now will probably have some version of a yarrow in it.
Okay.
If you're going to do that, there are yarrows that grow very tall and yarrows that stay very short. So you'll want to think about how tall you want your lawn to be, what color you want the yarrows to be. So there's a ton of different options out there.
It's a great name for a plant too.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yarrow. Can I tell you what I've done in the past, and you can tell me on the scale of 1 to 10 how weird it is. But I don't know where I saw this, but I mixed white vinegar, Dawn dish soap, and like hot water in like one of those, what do you call it, like that pump thing?
Yeah, sprayer.
Yeah, and that kills the weeds.
Has that been effective for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it kills it, but it makes it look ugly. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it's still, it yellows it, it browns it, and it kind of makes it a little harder to pull up. But like, it's been a decent, effective method, and it's like a little more safer for like the animals and stuff.
So in practice, you were using horticultural ideas, and it sounds like it's at least somewhat effective.
Yeah.
So vinegar at a high enough strength can be an herbicide, agricultural vinegar. The white vinegar that we buy at the store that's like 5% usually isn't enough to kill a plant. May damage it or stunt it, but it usually won't kill it. What's changing is you're adding soap to that, Dawn dish soap, which is acting as a surfactant. So it's sticking to the plants better because it's got the soap on it.
Yeah.
And so essentially what we're doing is applying vinegar and then putting a layer over it so it sits on the plant. And that's what's doing the damage. The hot water makes it a solution that's easier to spray. I typically don't recommend home remedies like that because they can go wrong quick.
Okay.
But that's the principle behind what's happening there.
Okay. I love the idea of like planting something with the weeds and just like
Yeah,
like kind of like competitive, like Super Bowl, just like battling it out. Like, this
absolutely.
is my space. You can't live in this yard. That type of thing.
So I'm a big proponent of
Yeah.
planting with your soil instead of against it.
Mm.
So choosing plants that do well in your soil type, you'll have more success. And things like native yarrow grow very well here.
Yeah.
So planting in a soil with a native plant, it's likely going to outcompete. Well, I shouldn't say outcompete, but it likely will do better. Yeah.
Next question. Advice for keeping them pesky. Well, we'll start with deer because Mark and I, we've been battling deer for a long time. Let's talk about deer here. How we keep deer away from, and outside of like just like building a greenhouse, like if we just wanted to like grow stuff outside and not have to worry about deer eating it.
That's a difficult problem to solve.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is put a 6-foot fence around wherever you're planting.
Okay.
It can be shorter if you do some tricks. So, for example, there's fences that are double layered and their slats go different ways to make it look like it's bigger.
Okay.
Sometimes that can be effective. Another option is planting deer-resistant plants. Although before the pod, I was talking to Mark, and he was telling me that he planted some deer-resistant peppers, and the deer learned they were resistant by eating them. So sometimes that happens too.
Yeah.
The other option is to, well, this isn't a very fun option, but coexist, meaning that sometimes the deer are going to get some of your plants and sometimes they won't.
All right.
Yeah.
So really just build a fence or a greenhouse, right? Because unless they'll figure out how to open a greenhouse.
As far as I know, deer haven't gotten thumbs yet. Yeah.
Oh,
Boy.
you never know.
Yeah.
I tried to build a fence one time around like my front area. It's like mulch, and they figured out how to get around the fence.
That can happen.
It's absolutely defeating. And can I say the amount of variety of tomatoes that I've discovered over the years? That's crazy amount of varieties.
At least
you have
hundreds.
a favorite tomato?
I really like indigo rose tomatoes.
Okay.
So they're a cocktail tomato. They're a little bit smaller. I guess I should say for aesthetics, I really like indigo rose. They're dark purple, almost black. My favorite eating tomato, and this is kind of a cop-out answer because it's everybody's favorite eating tomato, is sun gold cherries. So they're cherry tomatoes. Sometimes they come in more of a pear shape, but they're super tasty and very easy to grow.
Right.
Okay. What's the most common errors gardeners around here make? Like, what's the most common question you get?
Good question. So some of the common errors that we see are overwatering or underwatering. And it's easy to make that error because, we want to make sure our plants succeed. So sometimes we water too much. Short, frequent waterings oftentimes aren't the most successful way to grow a plant. Usually we're looking for long, infrequent waterings. So instead of doing 10 minutes a day, maybe doing an hour once a week can be really helpful. Not true for lawns, but for a lot of other plants, those long, deep waterings that are infrequent can be really helpful. The other side of that is I forgot to water my plant, and that can kill them too.
Yeah.
When it comes to pests, I see a lot of we want to apply something. So we're going to pick, either neem oil or agricultural soap and insecticidal soap and use those. Neither of which are bad when used correctly, but we always, always, always want to read the label on any pesticide that we use before we use it. So sometimes pesticides can actually do more harm than good or cause adverse effects. This morning I was looking up miticides and specifically for two-spotted spider mite, and I found that one that you can purchase isn't for mites, but sometimes folks will buy it because it says insecticide. And this particular kind of insecticide will actually cause mites to increase in number instead of decrease.
Oh my gosh.
So knowing these things or coming and talking to us can really help reduce the issues that happen there. The other thing is trying to grow plants in the wrong kind of soil. So
Okay. Not everything can grow in miracle. What's it called?
Miracle Grow.
Yeah.
So that actually leads to a different thing.
Yeah.
Not specifically against that company or anything like that. But oftentimes we see folks over fertilizing plants too. That can lead to as much harm to a plant as under fertilizing it.
Okay.
And knowing where and when to fertilize is really important too. For example, there's several fertilizers out there like bone meal or feather meal that are really high in nitrogen, so they can be super beneficial. But if you fertilize in the wrong place on the plant, like right up against the trunk, you can actually kill a plant that way. Yeah. So nitrogen can burn plants really easily. So these are things that they're good to learn as you go on.
Yeah.
And gardening and farming both are trial and error. So we learn these things hopefully easier than hard ways. But either way, we can always replant, or depending on the plant that got harmed, it can regrow. So the good news is that there's always a next season, and anything that dies can be compost.
Do we have still quite a bit of like invasive species
Yeah.
that kind of
Yes.
are a nuisance in this area?
So in the entire United States, there's a lot of invasive species. In Douglas County specifically, yes, we do have several that are of note. The Douglas County Weed Advisory Board is a great place to go to figure out kind of what our priority weeds are. They meet in the courthouse, I think, quarterly. They're a great group of folks that talk about, what weeds are we focusing on right now? There's different classes of weeds, A, B, and noxious. And that kind of determines how big of a deal they are when you encounter them. So, for example, blackberries are a weed that are everywhere, right? So they're not a top priority to eradicate throughout the state because it's going to be very hard to do so. There are some other weeds like yellow floating heart, for example. If we see it, we want to get rid of it right now because the populations of that are still relatively small. There's several weeds that are potentially problematic here, blackberries being one.
And what we did the abandoned wildfire. What was that? What's that thing that grows on?
Gorse.
Gorse, not gorse.
Yes, gorse, yeah.
Yes, we learned that the gentleman brought that in from like Ireland and decided to plant it all around, and then the abandoned fire was the cause of that gorse.
It's pretty prolific on the coast. There are some cool things going on in terms of weed control, and Gorse brought this to mind.
Yeah.
There are thrips being introduced by the state that specifically feed on gorse.
Okay.
So there's different plants throughout the not just the county, but the state that we're introducing biological controls for, with the idea that we're sort of using insects or whatever, some cases it's fungi, to eat the invaders. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, right?
Yeah. So the room we're in here today is the plant study room?
This is the plant clinic.
Plant clinic room.
Yeah.
So you have folks coming in here every day, or?
So during this time of year, the plant clinic itself is open from 1 to 4 p.m. on weekdays.
Okay.
And we have master gardeners in here that are here to answer questions from the public.
Love it.
And for folks that don't know where we're at, it's
Yeah.
1134 Southeast Douglas, right next to the courthouse.
My phone number is 541-236-3015.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then do you have like kind of a wow, like an aha moment that you've kind of encountered from over the years of all your studies and your research, and like, my gosh, this plant's amazing, or like, this plant's annoying, or like,
there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Blueberries are one of my favorite plants. I've probably talked
Really?
about them a lot already. And the world of blueberries is incredible. There's different flowering seasons and pollination seasons. So if you plant them right, you can have blueberries from late June, all the way into September. But one of my wow moments was learning that all blueberries taste different. This was early in my career. There's a variety of blueberries that's called Blue Ribbon. And they were life-changing for me the first time I tried them.
Really?
Yeah, just because they're so different. And not necessarily just Blue Ribbon, but all blueberries are so different. Sort of a secret in the world of horticulture. You don't always see the variety of a fruit when you're buying it at the store.
Yeah.
But in the background, there's hundreds of varieties of blueberries and raspberries and blackberries and apples and whatever. So one of my aha moments, I guess, would be figuring out what varieties of fruits I like the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic answer. So when I buy a package of like blueberries or raspberries, it's different variety?
I don't know if it'd be different in a single package, but depending on what time of the year you buy them. So if you buy blueberries in June and you buy blueberries in August, they're more than likely different varieties.
Did you?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
So there's blueberries, raspberries, are blackberries like that too?
Yes. Yeah.
Strawberries?
Yep. Oh yeah.
My mind is blown.
I'm blown.
So with strawberries,
No
with strawberries, they can be very different. If you buy strawberry jam, it's probably made with a June-bearing strawberry, which within that class, there's a bunch of different varieties. But those only bloom and fruit in June, or depending on where you're at, July, and they have a really high Brix content. Brix means sugar. So they're ultra sweet, often used in jams. When you go to the farmer's market to buy a strawberry, you're going to more than likely be buying something that's called a day neutral, which means those strawberries will produce fruit as long as the temperature requirements are right.
Okay.
Yeah. So Albion and Seascape are two of the old reliables for those. If you buy strawberries at a farmer's market almost anywhere in Oregon and you really like them, it's probably an Albion or a Seascape. Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you guys eat cherry pie or have eaten cherry pie in the past?
Boy, do we ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
cherries and milk.
my doctor says I have a high Brix content.
That's funny.
I love pick. I mean, we pick cherries like as a family, so absolutely.
There you go. So when you're picking cherries, you're picking sweet cherries.
Yeah.
When you eat a cherry pie, you're eating cherries that are tart.
Yeah.
They're completely different varieties of cherries.
Right.
So tart cherries are what we typically see in pies and jams, but they don't taste very good if you eat them.
Maraschino cherries.
Yeah, maraschinos, that's a whole different journey.
Right.
Yeah, they're processed to be the way that they are.
Right.
But maraschinos can be made from different kinds of cherries.
Okay.
So, like, do you guys go to U-Picks here to pick cherries?
yeah.
Yeah. So depending on what time of the year you're going, you may be picking Rainiers. That's one where you'd see it in the stores, a
Right.
Rainier cherry.
Bing.
Yeah, there's Bings, Rainiers, Vans, Sweethearts. There's all sorts of different kinds of cherries out there.
Right.
And that's applicable to the entire fruit world.
I had no idea.
I mean, apples, pears, I kind of knew. What
Yeah.
about bananas?
Bananas are special.
I love that bananas are special.
Yeah, they are special. For the most part, when you buy bananas in stores, they're one variety.
Okay.
There are a couple different varieties of bananas that are grown throughout the world, but that single variety is the most effective at mass production and storage. There's actually a producer here in Douglas County that grows bananas. I know, it's greenhouse production, and she grows a different variety of bananas. So if you wanted to try something that isn't our normal banana, check out the farmer's market in the spring or summer, and you might find something that's really new for you as a banana consumer.
So you must have you got a pretty good garden at home?
Yeah, I do gardening. Well, I manage somewhere between 6 and 8 gardens a year. So I've got the one at home, but I also do one here at the community garden. This year we're looking at doing one in Myrtle Creek. We have the Discovery Garden out by River Forks.
Okay.
And then we're doing several with the Tribal Roots Horticulture Program. So I don't grow in one single place. I grow everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the one over by Fremont. Remember what?
Oh, yeah, that's a community
the
garden.
community garden. Yeah.
Yeah, Gateway
one.
Community Garden.
Yeah.
We just did a printing class there.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that one.
It's a beautiful little garden, and we also have several master gardeners that garden there too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So plants that kind of grow in the spring and then summer and fall, and I guess my question, what I'm trying to ask is, like, what's the best way to kind of take care of plants during the winter?
Sure.
Like, I don't really have like a specific plant in mind, but like anything that you'll want to kind of keep alive through like the winter was sort of like
So there's not a ton of plants that we completely overwinter in terms of food crops here. Onions and shallots are ones that we will do that with. They're kind of built where once you plant them, you don't have to do much to keep them alive.
Okay.
Once they're established, they're okay. For plants that we'd call winter gardening, we're typically looking somewhere into December at the latest where we're going to be harvesting those. And that's going to be frequently your cole crops. When I say cole, I mean brassica. And when I say brassica, I mean mustard. So by that, I'm saying broccolis, cabbage, cauliflowers, that kind of thing. So those tend to grow well late into the season. And if you need to extend their season, we can do hoop houses or row covers. We can also do that with tomatoes to a lesser extent. You can harvest tomatoes probably reliably until October with some kind of season extension. But a lot of the crops that we want to plant and grow through the winter season or the late fall season are plants that are designed to handle that well. And if you're looking at a seed packet, you'll see something called a hardiness zone on the back. That's a map developed by the USDA, and it'll tell you on average at your location what is the minimum extreme low temperature. That'll make complete sense, right? What that means is here in Douglas County, we're mostly 8A to 9A. So what that translates to is we typically don't get below 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So when you see a plant that says hardy to 8A, then it will probably survive longer into the winter.
Now, does that target range move kind of as we're heading towards
It can, for sure.
Environments here in this world?
Yeah. So we just saw the map got updated in 2023. I don't know what we were before, but I think we changed a little bit here. We're also seeing, depending on where you're at, your season has shortened, extended, or you have new availability for different kind of crops. So for example, here in Douglas County, we grow olives. And that's a thing that's happening. Yeah.
I have no idea. Did you know we grew olives here?
We sure do.
And in California was big, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So our olive production here is a little bit different than California. Our season isn't as long, so we're mainly producing olives for oil here in Oregon. And it's not just Douglas County. There's olive production throughout the state and even as far north as Canada, but your season gets shorter and shorter, right? So here we're mainly producing for oil, and we tend to harvest as close to the first frost as we can get.
Okay.
We want to get as much production and oil concentration out of the olives before we harvest.
Interesting.
So that's always kind of a dance right there before the first frost.
What flowers do you like? Not recommend, but like what flowers are great to kind of keep alive or easiest sort of like during winter time?
Calendulas.
Calendulas.
Yep.
Okay.
They are a set and forget once they're established.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calendulas.
And for the most part, calendulas are yellow or orange. There's some variation within those, but they are absolutely gorgeous. One of my master gardeners, we were talking about this exact subject. How do you keep flowers during the winter?
Yeah.
And he said, God bless calendulas. And now I have a sticker that says that on the back of my truck.
I love it.
Yeah. And they really are. They're sort of a, not to sound too cheesy, but they're a orange shining beacon of hope through the winter that we're going to see flowers again.
I get my wife flowers every year for Mother's Day. Keep them alive until probably, I don't know, starts getting cold and it just starts dying off.
Yeah, like potted flowers?
Yeah. Go out to, I think Long's and I get her like, hanging baskets is what I was talking about. Yeah, I usually get her like a couple hanging baskets. Do my best. I get it for her thinking she'll water them. Never happens. I end up taking care of it. And one year I bought her a fake plant thinking she'll never kill this. And that was just, it's just sitting in her house. But yeah, I usually get her like hanging baskets.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of plants that come in hanging baskets are annuals to begin with, so they
Right.
won't survive over the winter.
Right.
But there are things like amaryllis, for example. Big, bulb plant. They look beautiful. Probably wouldn't do great in a hanging basket. But you can dig those up, bring them in over the winter, and you can have them for year after year.
Okay.
Hyacinth is the same way. What I did recently for my wife is I planted several beds of they're called spring bulbs, which means they bloom in spring. You plant them in fall. But I planted tulips, hyacinths, daisies, crocus, which is saffron. And I planted them in such a way that we have a continuous bloom in a row, starting in the spring, going through summer.
Oh, how cool is
Yeah.
that? I love that.
So if you do something like that, you don't have to buy new flowers because they'll bloom year after year. Now, I should say, with things like irises, dahlias, daffodils, you have to dig them up at some point and separate the bulbs because they will continue to produce. And if you don't, eventually you end up with a mess.
Okay.
But it's a relatively easy thing to do.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Did no idea.
Terringer Farms will get mad at me if I say bulbs for irises. They're rhizomes.
Love
Who knew, Mark?
I was gonna say something, but I don't know.
Yeah, right. I mean,
I thought Logan should say it.
yeah, this is a cool office. And again, information is at extension.oregonstate.edu/mg
Or /Douglas.
and then also on YouTube, right?
We do have a YouTube channel and a Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Master Gardener YouTube channel has a variety of wonderful videos on there. Occasionally you'll see me
Talking plants.
Yeah, talking plants.
Which I love. I love the little
Yeah.
reels. I like, here's what I like about them. They're
Yeah.
not too long.
That's
I
the
like
goal.
they're short and sweet.
Yes.
Get to the point.
Yeah.
I love them. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
The idea is how do we bring information in a digestible format that's still fun to watch,
Yeah.
right? So we're trying to do things that are, under a minute, under 30 seconds when
Yeah.
possible. I'm not sure that I can talk for less than 30 seconds, but I try. And then, little snippets that'll get folks interested and say, hey, maybe I want to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
So, for example, right now in February, primroses are out and they look gorgeous. It's a very beautiful flower. Maybe I'm giving away a secret here, but Flower Friday videos, I'm going to be doing primrose next.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys got
Little
the insider
teaser?
scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little teaser. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Advice that you would give your younger self.
Plant a garden sooner. And that's not just cheesy.
Yeah.
Not only are you getting fresh food, but also recent studies have shown that horticulture, gardening, is actually very good for mental health, community building, all sorts of things. So my suggestion to my younger self or to anybody is plant a garden sooner because it'll make you happier, get you in the soil. There's antidepressant properties in soil. It's just a good thing to do.
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Good answer.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to plug your number again one more time, Logan. 541-236-3015.
And then also it'd be worth mentioning my email,
I like it. Which is
logan.bennett@oregonstate.edu.
perfect.
Checks out.
Good.
It checks out.
Glad it checks out.
He says it. It's real. It's real.
Yeah, we have just the fun questions left.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Any other talking plants? Any other things you want to throw out there about what you guys do about
Sure.
plants? I mean, the floor is yours, sir.
We are designed to bring programming to you as the community. So if you're interested in farming or gardening, feel free to reach out to us. But also, you guys mind if I plug some classes?
Fire away.
Okay.
Sir, this is your time, man.
But also, we provide education on all sorts of subjects. So, for example, coming up in March, this is a bit of a silly name, but we have a series coming up called You, Me, and the Bees.
Aw.
Yeah, it's our annual beekeeping
Cute.
academy. And we partner with the Umpqua Valley Beekeepers Association every year to do this. This year, we're trying something new. It's a 4-session program instead of 1, and it's going to be over 4 months. So we're going to be going really deep into introductory beekeeping, hive dynamics, how do you care for your hives, honey harvesting. We'll also be doing a live hive dive. So that means a live hive dive. Say that 5 times fast. That means we'll be going out to beehives, opening them up and looking through the comb, figuring out if this is healthy, if it's not, identifying the queen, that kind of thing. So that's available on our website. That one is a bit spendy, but that's because we're doing 4 sessions. We have some really wonderful speakers coming in, and we're going to be offering lunch at 3 of the 4 classes. Yeah. So if you're interested in that, let me know. If you're interested, it's $100. If you're interested in that and $100 is a little spendy, let me know. We might be able to work out a scholarship too. We also have those classes we talked about at the co-op. And then the newest one that we're doing, I want to talk about, is called Boots on the Ground. So we did this last year and we're bringing it back this year. This is specifically designed for horticultural therapy and training for veterans. Yeah. So the goal here is whether you're already an established market gardener or have never touched a shovel before, you can come through this program starting in April all the way through August and get the basics all the way up to like the nuts and bolts on how to start a garden to selling plants.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
And this is a cool one because it's not only based around learning, but it's also community building.
Yeah.
So it's a cool program. We got to do it last year. It's not just me teaching it. We bring in veterans that are already in the agricultural space to help teach and mentor. So it's a fun program and you'll grow a bunch of plants. This one is $50 for 10 sessions, but there are also scholarships available for that. So any class that I offer, if you're interested and the financial cost is a little bit overbearing, feel free to reach out. We always try to make scholarships available.
Lots of great stuff, man.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
These are just the things that I do. There's so much more programming available through the extension service.
We ask these questions about everybody. So we're going to go with, if you can invite 3 people, alive or dead, to a dinner, who would you invite and why?
Good question. First person is Hugh Bennett. I'm not related to Hugh Bennett, but he was the father/founder of, at the time, the Soil Conservation Service, now known as the USDA NRCS. He has some really fantastic history. I won't give away all of it because I want you to go look him up.
Yeah.
But one of the things that Hugh Bennett did was filibuster Congress during the Dust Bowl long enough for the Dust Bowl to reach it to the Congressional Hall and fill the hall with dust.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, to showcase how important it is for us to be focused on agriculture and soil health in this country. Yeah.
So he filibustered by filling it?
He filibustered till it filled. Yeah.
That's cool. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
Other 2, I've always wanted to talk to Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, great
Yeah.
answer.
I think that would be a fantastic conversation.
Great answer.
Yes. Who would there's so many cool people I want to talk
This
to.
is a tough question.
You know, I just got back from Georgia. I was down there for a extension conference, and I learned about a man named Button Gwinnett. So he was a signer in the Constitution.
Button Gwinnett?
Button Gwinnett, yes. And he's got such an interesting history.
We don't name people like we used to.
Yeah. Well, it gets more interesting.
Mark and I, we've come across So many fantastic names.
But
Button
Gwinnett
Gwinnett is such a great name.
This guy's got a history.
Yeah, so the thought is his name may have been Burton, but he was from Scotland, and the colonies didn't understand his accent, and they started calling him Button. And he signed the Constitution of the United States as Button Gwinnett. So he embraced it.
I wonder how many times he tried to like pronounce his name so people would understand. He's just like, you know what? I'm going by Button.
That's it.
Right.
So he was one of the signers of the Constitution of the United States, moved back to Georgia. He became the governor, and then something happened where he ended up in a duel. And then, he died in the duel. He was buried in this colonial cemetery. Then they lost his grave marker during the Civil War. And then there's this whole story about trying to find him again. And then they did. And now he's got this giant marble thing. Actually, if you check out my Facebook, I got a video about it. But it's such a cool story.
I love that. That's
Never heard of it.
Right?
That's amazing.
So just things in history.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I meant to ask you too, what do you do kind of, what's your downtime look like? You know, when you're not planting, when you're not solving the world's problems with plants, what's Logan doing in his downtime?
I guess I'll say when I'm not planting at home too.
Yeah.
This is a recent thing, but my wife likes crocheting, and she's brought me into the world of crocheting. So that's a thing we're doing now.
Okay.
Planning on entering into, there's a soft arts competition at UVA, so I'm gonna enter a crochet thing into that. I really enjoy reading, and if you couldn't tell by my Button Gwinnett story, I'm a huge history nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love some history around here.
Yes.
That's so crazy.
That's awesome.
Okay, good. We can ask this question, everybody, because we didn't ask in the first couple of interviews. We've got them in now. Do you have any paranormal or Bigfoot stories?
Paranormal or Bigfoot stories?
Right.
You know, I think I'm going to be boring. I don't think I do.
That's okay.
That's
okay. But listen, if the moment we shut this off and you're like, wait a minute, I do have a paranormal or Bigfoot story, we're re-recording. Because it happens all the time. We're like,
see the mics come. Okay, I can't tell you. We know it's recorded. All right.
That's nice.
Lastly, favorite point. We always ask everybody, what's your favorite movie?
You know, I am weird that I haven't watched a lot of movies. Not seen Star Wars, not seen Harry Potter, not seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Let's go.
Wow.
I do really like Moana. That was a great movie.
Okay, yes, it was.
Yes. Big fan of Moana.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, we'll put that
Moana's
down.
a good movie.
Yeah, that's my favorite movie.
Good movie.
All right. Favorite sandwich?
Okay, I thought about this extensively because on the surface, I'm not a sandwich person.
Okay.
But I do like, this is so dorky, I do like it to grow some beefsteak tomatoes and grow some Thai basil and make my own caprese.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you
Pesto?
go.
Oh,
Yes,
my
absolutely.
God.
And you can make pesto out of ingredients you grow here.
Oh my God.
So there you go.
Man, I'll be back when that happens, man. I think we did it, mate.
We did it.
I think we did. Logan, thank you so much, man. Thank you for everything you do, dude. I mean, this has just been fantastic. I hope people take away from the whole program everything you do. Hope they learn a lot. I hope they go out and all the dates and stuff you have going on and all the events you're organizing and stuff, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And thanks for inviting me to the pod, guys.
Absolutely.
I do have one more plug if that's okay.
Please, yes.
So we started a Junior Master Gardeners 4-H club.
Oh, cool.
And now we have clover buds, meaning if you're 5 to 19, you can join our Junior Master Gardeners 4-H club, learn about horticulture, enter a project. We did it last year. We had 5 members. All 5 got blue ribbons. Okay. So not bragging, but kind of. Yeah. So we are growing the club actively. If you have kiddos that are interested in learning how to grow and hands-on, like growing and submitting projects, we're even talking about selling at the farmer's market this year. Check us out. We are turning into quite a club. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Again, we'll just say like I do every week, Oregon Files Podcast, yahoo.com. Mark puts it on the old YouTube. Check us on Instagram. And again, we appreciate your time, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Cheers.